Welcome again, Sagittarius. Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au. It's June 2017. It's come around quickly, and the nice thing is that on the 9th there is a full moon taking place within your sun sign. So that, I think, is significant. I want to talk about that because actually the full moon, well, the moon generally for you is ruling your 8th house. In some Eastern systems of astrology, they say that the 8th house, although problematic for most of us, if one of the luminaries, that is the moon or the sun, and in your case the moon does rule this area, it's not going to be too harmful. I've got my own views on that. The 6th houses and the 8th houses of the horoscope do have some reference to health issues. And when that planet is strong, you have to be careful, particularly it being an emotional planet. And take a look there, the finance planet Saturn has been just, making its way sluggishly for the last year or so through your Sagittarian sun sign. It rules your finances, and the 8th house, which is what the moon rules, it being full around the 9th, relates to other people's finances. So there's a very strong tinge of finance, money, economics, and the way you're dealing with that right now. We see too that there is an impending opposition from the Sun to Saturn in the partnerships sector of your horoscope. The Sun opposition to Saturn, let me have a look here, I'm not sure, there it is, June 15th, sorry I'm turning away from you, I just need to have a look at the list. The 15th of June, so we see on the 9th, the full moon. I'm just trying, it's like piecing together a jigsaw, all this stuff, really, because you've got to get all the components and you can't really isolate them. So I guess in talking to you I'm isolating them, but I'm trying to put together a bit more of a picture as to what's happening. So the greater responsibility, we've seen that Mars opposition to Saturn recently, bringing a lot of frustration. Sun now, which is a friendly planet, moving through the 7th house again. That's a relationship house, a marital house. And we also see Mercury moving into this area on the 7th. So a lot of activity in your 7th house of relationships. And those finance planets also casting aspect on that area. You may find yourself having to really carefully plan. Planning a lot better is important for you now. As these planets relate to finances. Pluto's transiting your 2nd house of finances. But this seems to be in the context of your relationships and your partnerships, business-wise. So I want you to give more attention to that, especially in the first part of the month. These 3 planets I've just referred to will be moving out of the 7th house. We see Mars moving into the 8th house. Again, this shared financial area of your horoscope on the 5th. Then we see the transit of the Sun and Mercury at the same time into this 8th house on the 21st. That 8th house, as well as relating to your finances, Sagittarius, has quite a bit to do with sexuality, matters of intimacy. And if you're wanting a deeper, more intimate relationship, you must be on guard that you don't let Mars prod you into overstepping the bounds of good taste there. You can become rather demanding, rather aggressive. And when you employ that aggressive sort of behaviour, you tend to push people away rather than attract them to you, which is what you want. So that's important. Now, speaking about your relationships, there's another very significant aspect taking place now. As a result of Venus and Uranus in conjunction in your 5th house of love affairs, those 2 planets receive a favourable influence from the North Node, that's your karmic planet, and Saturn, also another karmic planet. We've talked about Saturn. This creates what's called a grand trine, or a triangular shape in the heavens between these planets. And this North Node acts in a similar fashion to Uranus. In other words, these influences of Uranus and the node activate sudden sweeping changes. As some of you may know, Uranus is very revolutionary, odd. People characterized by this planet have unusual tendencies. They may be people who don't follow the beaten track. You may be attracted to that sort of person right now. Or, if we're not talking about people outside yourself, there could be an element within yourself that you're trying to make contact with at this time to bring out the zanier, more sort of colourful side of your personality. And that's shown because the fifth house is the inner child. It is your creative and expressive self that is being triggered by these planets. So I think all in all, this is quite interesting. That Venus-Uranus aspect is perfected on the 3rd. So that's very early in the month. You'll be feeling that now. And incidentally, for those of you that are parents, this particular sector of the horoscope relates to children. So we can see that, especially if you've got teenager children, this can be bringing into focus some of the behaviors of the children, sort of grappling with how to bring a little more discipline to that, as shown by the trine aspect of Saturn from the sun sign of Sagittarius. That's yourself. So we see how we can look at these transits on quite a few different levels. So you need to be very diplomatic in the way you approach your kids during this particular cycle. The new moon, I've already talked about, taking place in the 8th house, seems to be indicating that you're going to turn over a new leaf in terms of the way you manage your money. Savings, insurances, taxes, all those sorts of things that relate to other people, and how money is saved, bank managers, that type of thing, seems to be an area that you're going to be focused on quite a bit, especially in the latter part of the month. Jupiter, your ruling planet, just in finishing up, moves into its direct motion in your 11th house of friendship. So your social activity should also see a turn for the better when it goes direct on the 9th of June, which is around the time of that full moon in your sun sign. So all in all, a good month, one which I think is going to bring you some exciting times in your relationships and your love affairs. By the way, the 5th house, as well as ruling your love affairs and children, has to do with speculation. So be a little bit careful there. Venus is not so friendly. It can give debt and winnings at the same time. So if you can't help yourself and you need to gamble a little and you win, stop while you're ahead. Join me at astrology.com.au until I see you next month. We have the monthly readings there in text form, the yearly forecast, the daily forecast, and personal services from me and some of my associates. You're more than welcome to take advantage of that if you'd like to come and get a more personal view on what's happening in your part of the universe. Thanks for joining me again, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.